あの世って場所でも一緒にやっていこうぜ。
Everyone wants to see Kurama return by the end of Boruto, and if Naruto isn't killed or sealed by then, as many are theorizing, then there's a 99% chance that Kurama will return. Well, I believe it's possible. She will come back through an unusual method which I'm sure most of you didn't even think about, which is how Naruto sacrificed part of his life to bring it back. Want to know how? Stay until the end of the video and I'll explain. So guys, I've been mentioned in the last videos that Naruto can use a powerful weapon that is in Konoha, which is Madara Uchiha's Rinnegan, because this is the only way he can defeat Code, which is now without its limiters. Yes, possibly Madara Uchiha's eyes are somewhere inside Konoha, being kept under lock and key for a special moment. After all, after dying in the last great shinobi battle, we never heard from Madara's body or what did to him, right? Approximately 15 years ago, the 6th Hokage, Kakashi, kept Madara's body, in the same way that the 2nd Hokage Tobirama kept it in a safe place, to study in the future, as there are many mysteries in that body, especially in those eyes. So it's obvious that Madara's Rinnegan is being guarded for some purpose, otherwise it wouldn't make sense, right? And for sure this purpose is to use it in combat or even revive someone, like Kurama for example, bringing their soul back inside Naruto. Many think that because Kurama is a chakra monster, she has no soul, but this statement is far from true, because if she didn't have a soul, the 4th Hokage would never be able to seal her inside Naruto, since the Reaper Jutsu of Death needs 2 souls to be executed, the users and the victims, so if Kurama didn't have a soul, the Just a Death Reaper would never have any effect on her. Do you understand? So thinking logically, if Kurama has a soul, that soul went somewhere, and in fact it must have gone to one of Naruto's various after-death planes, such as the Pure World, the Spiritual Plane among others. And what confirms the theory is Kurama's speech before his death. When she is saying goodbye to Naruto, she says she has a soul, when she tells Naruto not to try too hard, or he would end up joining her in it very quickly, since from that moment on Naruto would no longer have the superhuman power of a Jinchuriki. That's not me saying, it was Kurama's own words.
わしはもう行くが気ぃつけろよ。無茶してるとあっという間にこっち側へ仲間入りだぜ。
Kurama.
So yes folks, it's no exaggeration to imagine that Kurama actually has a soul and that she could possibly be on one of the spiritual planes we've seen in the course of Naruto's work. The question that remains is, how to bring her back and where does Naruto apply to it? This possibility. Well, that's why I spoke of Madara Uchiha and his mighty dojutsu, or Rinnegan, because there are no eyes more special and with greater capabilities than the Rinnegan, so much so that its first version, the Rinne Sharingan that gave rise to the Rinnegan in a form of genetic dilution, was obtained after Kaguya Otsutsuki ate the divine fruit that the divine tree gives after suck the nutrients, information, and living beings from an entire planet, that is, Hagoromo only had it on account of his mother, and Madara only obtained the supreme dojutsu, the same as Hagoromo's, after gathering the powers that basically are Hagoromo's powers diluted for centuries, which are the powers of Indra and Ashura, Hashirama, and himself, Madara Uchiha. So there's no way to question the capabilities of this dojutsu. Even Momoshiki himself must destroy it for finding it a nuisance, and Ishiki himself also mentioned that Sasuke's Rinnegan was something complicated to deal with, that is, the Rinnegan is a source of immeasurable powers, both that he controls life and death. And this is where Naruto and Kurama's rebirth comes in. Calm down, are you saying that Naruto would use Madara's Rinnegan to bring Kurama back? Exactly. And yes, I know what you must be thinking right now, but he will die if he does that. Well, this is not an absolute truth. In fact, we don't know how far the Rinne Tensei no Jutsu affects the Rinnegan wielder. The idea is that they all die when using it, as if it was basically a life-for-life exchange jutsu, just like we saw Nagata do to bring the people of Konoha back. However, at one point Conan mentions that Nagata would only lose his life because of his low amount of chakra at that moment and for being weakened after using Gedomazu to defeat the men of Danzu and Hanzo of Salamander at that time before of the formation of the new Akatsuki. So there is a possibility that Naruto does not actually die when using Madara's Rinnegan to bring Kurama back, but loses a lot of vitality, lifetime, and chakra. Maybe it will even be weakened, but Kurama would come back to life, in theory. But even if that doesn't work and in fact the Rinne Tensei no Jutsu covers Naruto's entire life, we still have a way out for our dear Hokage, because as we saw, Rinne Tensei doesn't take his life right away. On the contrary, it takes a while for a person to die. Nagata died faster because of the fact that we have already mentioned here, he was very weak, but still he stayed alive for a while to talk to Naruto. And if we look at Obito who also used this jutsu, then we can see that he kept himself alive. But in his case it was because of Zetsu who used his vitality to keep him alive. So, if we think about it, if Naruto uses Rinne Tensei no Jutsu to bring Kurama back to life and if he was really going to lose his life in that exchange, well, the most logical way out would be to seal the newly revived Kurama as quickly as possible in Naruto again, and just like in the case of Obito where Black Zetsu served as a will of life, vitality and chakra to keep Obito alive as long as they were together. As long as Kurama was inside Naruto he won't die. And on second thought, this would really have a great chance of working since Kurama has always been Naruto's greatest source of chakra, vitality and healing. Kurama practically prevented Naruto from dying. We saw how Shin Ulchiha pierced a sword through Naruto and he didn't die, or else we have the speech of Ishiki himself, who said that it would be better to seal Naruto because killing him would be very difficult and would cost a lot of power on account of Kurama. Not even Ishiki had the power needed at that time to take Naruto's life on account of Kurama, so I believe that not even Rinne Tensei no Jutsu would have that ability. But now I want to know your opinion on this. Could this be the only way to bring Kurama back besides keeping Naruto alive? Leave it in the comments, okay? Click like. Thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Bye, Obi World, alright?